So, Nate, President Trump, 45 and 47, came over to Europe, visited Scotland and visited the EU, and struck a deal, a big trade deal, and laid down the law a little bit. You see this in the news?
Well, I saw the embarrassing moments with Sir Keir Starmer being like, "Oh, he's my friend, actually." So, "Oh no, well, we have lots of free speech." Shut up! Shut up!
Okay, so before we get on to the actual trade deal, then some of the other things that it's interesting that Trump or the United States, let's say, because it's modish now, isn't it? It's in fashion, sort of dunk on the United States to say that they're sort of over, their global power or their hegemony over the world is something from yesteryear, but it's absolutely not. It's absolutely not. When Trump or the president, any president really, walks into a room, they are the center of attention. They are the biggest dog there. They are the big man on campus in terms of economy, and certainly in terms of their military power and might. They're completely uncontested as the most powerful force, the biggest power in the world. So Trump can come over and just sort of somewhere between browbeating and bullying, just saying whatever he likes, right to the faces of European leaders. And because he's on our side of the argument, of the equation, I'm here for it. I think it's great. So you're referring to when he sat down with Sir Keir and just said, apart from a number of things he said, but one of the things was he saying that Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, is just a bad man doing a bad job.
He's a nasty man, was his words. So funny.
And Sir Keir and Sadiq are literally friends. Like I've seen them do podcasts together, just agreeing with each other that Islamophobia is one of the worst problems that British society faces, and all that sort of thing. Queer is very woke, extremely woke, and is just completely subservient to any and all brown people, and of course Islam. So they completely agree on that agenda. So they're friends. I mean, they're both Labour Party. Sadiq Khan might be the leader of the Labour Party one day. Who knows? So they're as thick as thieves. And Sir Keir said to Trump, "Well, he's my friend." And Trump's just like, yeah. Anyway, he is a bad guy, though. Yeah. He literally fobbed him off. It's like a little kid when an adult's speaking and a little kid tries to interrupt and make a counterpoint, and the adult just sort of ignores them. It essentially ignores them. She's like, "Yeah, pipe down. The adults are talking." Trump did that to him, and it was great. I thought it was great. But he did that to a number of people a number of times. And there's nothing they can do about it, because the realpolitik, the reality of the politics, the reality of money and military might is that he holds all the cards. And so it's just fun. It's interesting to see. So yeah, onto the trade deal, because that is part of it. Just belittling their leaders, treating them like children is just one facet of it. A bigger, much more important one is striking trade deals. So a big trade deal was struck between the EU as a bloc. So not including Great Britain. We'll have a completely separate deal, won't we? But the deal with the EU, a lot of people are saying, or nearly everyone is saying, that it heavily favours the United States, which it seems to do. Like the biggest like headlines of it are that the EU will buy hundreds of billions of dollars or euros worth of US military materiel, and they will increase their overall investment in United States, in US companies, again to the tune of hundreds of billions above and beyond what they were already doing. And in the payoff for that is that he'll only impose, I think, 15% tariffs on the EU.
So 15% tariffs. Basically, the EU made all concessions and they just got nothing in return, effectively.
Yeah.
Nothing.
If you're looking at it from the EU's side of the ledger, It is a poor deal. It does look like they just conceded on more or less everything.
Well, you know what's very comical about it is that the EU, so 600 billion worth of US investments, right? And then not only that, the EU with their radical green agenda, they were like $750 billion worth of fossil fuel energy. Yeah, we'll buy up that. Why not, mate?
So they absolutely folded. Right? Because Trump hates windmills. I mean, rightly, it's a stupid concept. It's
so foul. I hate them.
But he was like, that's all nonsense. That's all pie in the sky nonsense. And so, the EU, the ball's in their court politically at that stage to stand on their principles and say, no, we believe in this thing, this concept as a thing. So no, but they just completely fold. They're just like, yeah, yes, boss, yes, master. Yeah. So it's very revealing. That the amount of power, soft power, that he can work. Because he's not threatening. He's not threatening to nuke Berlin or Brussels or anything, is it? It's nothing like that. Not in a million years. So it's soft power. It really is soft power, influence, and yet even that is so powerful that he can get them to just completely abandon all their principles.
Well, they don't have any conviction, do they? They've got no conviction behind the stuff. And this is the thing: is that their position is so patently absurd. That's why they just drop it instantly. Like, it doesn't stand up to any scrutiny at all. Right. I mean, he even browbeat Ursula von der Leyen talking about like immigration and stuff. He was like, you won't have Europe left if you keep allowing all these people, and you got to deport them just in front of her face. Like,
right to her face. And she's just got to sit there and politely, like, sort of not really say anything, just sort of politely go, yes, Mr. President.
And then go back and try and stand all proud. Like, you're a loser, mate.
Because you're right, it reveals their position as tissue thin, as just a nonsense, just complete bullshit. Because if they truly believed it, they really had the courage of their convictions, at that stage, she would pipe up and say something. Say no. You should say, no, Mr. President, I'm sorry, I must respectfully disagree. Diversity is a strength. And all their lines, come out with all their lines. But no, none of it. Just like, yes, sir, yes, Mr. President, yes. It's like an adult and children. Right. You know what it's like when a child tries to make an argument about something, and it's just nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. And an adult just waves it away. Doesn't give it a moment's thought.
I love it.
It does remind me of when like a toddler that doesn't know what's dangerous for it. I think I've used this analogy before, but you get a little toddler, a 2 or 3 year old, can sort of barely walk, sort of toddler age, and they've got their hands on a bottle of bleach, say something dangerous. They've got their hands on some matches or whatever, and an adult just whips it out of their hand, and he's just like, no, of course I'm not going to let you play with that bottle of bleach. And the toddler throws a tantrum because it doesn't know any better. And it's the adult's job to just completely ignore that tantrum. Right? So cry your eyes out, bawl your eyes out, go red in the face and have a tantrum. That's fine. That's not a problem, because you are not having that bottle of bleach. You are not to be trusted with it. This is for your own good, and your tantrum means nothing. It means nothing. That's how Trump is sort of treating them in a way. Just to say it to her face. You won't have a Europe left if you keep doing this. It's good. It's great to see. It's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it further solidifies something which we all knew anyway. We talk about the US and the sort of global hegemon and things like that. It further solidifies for all to see that the UK and the EU are just vassal states. They just are, right? They just are. you know, the US is still an empire, effectively. Like everything is subservient to the US. You know, it's quite comical to watch, though, because at least we in England have a slight upper hand, being the fact that, you know, the US actually quite likes British people. You know, they're quite fond of the Brits. They like us. They find us I don't know, like a curiosity, you know, something to enjoy. But the EU doesn't like, and we quite like the US as well. You know, like a lot of people do anyway. But the EU, they don't like the US, and the US doesn't really like the EU either. They sort of tolerate one another. But it's still funny that the US is like, yeah, we're still in charge of you. We are still the daddy here. It's quite comical, really.
We are all each other's biggest trading partners, right? And once again, when it comes to power and influence and money, the United States holds the cards in that relationship. And that's just the way it is. That's just the reality of it. And yeah, you talk about Britain having a better relationship. There's a special, the so-called special relationship. Could talk for a long time about how special our special relationship is, whether that only ever really existed in the mind of Winston Churchill during the war years, and even then didn't really make sense, didn't really add up, or whether in fact that's one argument you could be made, that we don't really have a special relationship. When it came to it, America has tried to screw us over a whole bunch of times over the decades, and have got there's a strong anti-English, or at least anti-British Empire sentiment, strong one in the United States throughout the 40s, 50s, and into the 60s. Or on the other end of the spectrum, you can make the argument that, yeah, we actually do have quite a special relationship. I'm reading, or actually rereading, a book at the moment by Sir Christopher Mayer, who was the US ambassador, the British the British ambassador to the United States during the George Bush, Tony Blair years, all through 9/11 and the Iraq War. I just literally the other day read the chapter in that about the special relationship, and there is one. There kind of is one. They do like us more than any other country. Essentially, we are their first ally, although they will stab us in the back sometimes when they feel they need to, when it's in their interest. They always put their own interest first, which is fine. That's what every government should do. But beyond that, we are sort of their first ally, and we are sort of, if not brothers, then cousins. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just fun to see Trump, because I've got no love for the EU. I don't care if the EU gets screwed over by a harsh Donald deal. It was just good to see him lay down the law to Ursula and Macron and Sir Keir. That was cool to see.